That starts at Demm Reports.
Well, we take you to the other part of the world, the southern hemisphere, for these stories, and unfortunate bookends, really. First, news from other countries, Australia. An unidentified woman beat the odds. You talk about something that you would see in a movie. She survived nearly 1 week lost in the mountains after being bitten by a copperhead snake.
Wow.
We don't know her name, but she's 48 years old. She was reported missing in the snowy mountain region on October the 21st. I guess spring is coming to Australia as we speak. An intensive search located her 6 days later. She was dehydrated, of course, and dislocated one of her ankles. That happens a lot when people are lost. They fall. I don't know if they fall down a mountain or fall in the dark.
Right.
And she'd also been bitten by a copperhead, but lived. I don't know if she made a tourniquet or not.
Wow.
To keep the poison from spreading.
Maybe she knew what she was doing, and
maybe
tried to keep herself calm.
Yeah.
Impossible, really.
She was last reported in stable condition at a hospital.
That's impressive. Now, I'll give you 2 snake facts that I've recently learned. One is on copperheads. They don't want to bite you. They're not aggressive. You have to really get close to them and threaten them to be bitten.
It's a defensive bite?
Defensive bite in almost all cases with copperheads. I just read that. Like you step near them or on them, and they're very, you can't see them a lot because they're well camouflaged.
It sounds like if you, Chris Kelly, were a snake, you might be a copperhead.
Yes.
You don't want conflict.
That's right.
But every now and then you snap.
I'll strike. I'll snap and strike. I'm a copperhead.
And poison things.
That's exactly.
Meetings.
Correct.
Workplaces.
Bam,
Parties.
bam, bam, bam. 100% right. I'm a copperhead.
Social situations.
Littlest Patriot is a water moccasin. Aggressive. Looks for people to bite. Wants to bite you. That's
ready to go at any time.
Ready to go at any time. He'll see you and seek you out to bite you and poison everything in his path. I am a copperhead. I wait. If you get too near me, I'll strike. I don't want copperhead.
You don't warn with a rattle like a rattlesnake.
No, I don't do that. That's right.
No.
Just boom. That's exactly right. Biggie warns like a rattlesnake. He'll say, I got to get gas. I'm not gonna be at this.
My mom's coming.
I'm gonna be late. My mom's coming. He starts. That's
Yeah.
That's his rattle.
You're a rattlesnake.
What does that make me?
I think you're a python. I think you kill slowly.
Yeah.
I don't think
squeeze the life out of you.
Squeeze the life out over time.
And you're not scared of anything,
That's
and
right.
you just ignore everything.
Ignore until finally, I gotta eat. Let me squeeze something.
Yeah.
And then slowly you squeeze the life
Like
out.
a python just takes over. It's not. The python isn't scared of anything.
Nothing. I just read that python. This is my second piece of news. Those pythons in the Everglades have become such a problem that there are basically no more small mammals in the Everglades.
Yeah, they've decimated the rabbits and the foxes.
I mean, the rabbit population has gone down 99% since they found the first python in the Everglades. Yeah, small foxes, small deer, they're all gone from the Everglades because of these pythons.
There's a picture that went around too. Did you see that? I'm sure you did.
That's where I read the stat.
The python and the deer.
The deer.
Eating a deer.
Eating a deer. I mean, its jaws were like, I've never seen anything quite like it. But that's where I read that because of those pythons, and somebody, of course, released the first one. It was a pet, and they released it in the Everglades. And because of now they've multiplied so much that they just take over. There's all those species that are natural to the Everglades, like the rabbit or small fox, it's gone. Every one of them.
Can we figure out a way? Now, if this was a movie, if this is a sci-fi movie with, I don't know who the young hot star would be right now, The Rock.
Okay, right.
But The Rock.
Okay.
Could he find a way to turn the natural apex predator of the Everglades, the alligator, against
maybe? That's what has to that's what would have to happen, really, because they have those python hunts, and it doesn't do any good. I mean,
it really doesn't.
It doesn't even make a dent.
No.
Yes, that's what would have to happen. Here's my other question: do you think the first guy that released the python into the Everglades now says, "Dang, I wish I hadn't done that"?
Is that me?
Does he feel a lot of regret if he has, one
if
or
he
two?
knows.
Yeah, if you've done it at all. Do you feel a ton of regret for releasing a python into the Everglades? Because it really only took a few people, because once they started mating, it just, they're out of control. So let's say
nothing eats them.
Exactly. Let's say 10 people release their pet pythons into the Everglades. If you're one of those 10, do you go, oh man, I've completely ruined this. I really ruined this ecosystem. You should come forward and let us blame you for that. If you did that, 20 years ago?
Way to go, Lamar.
Nice job. Nice job. Kevin, you're talking about copperheads. Go ahead.
Hey guys, so P1 listener, I'm a herpetologist over at the zoo.
Ooh.
And I wanted to clarify some snake facts that are being talked about here on the show today.
Please.
So first of all, the copperhead in Australia story. While the snake in question is referred to as a copperhead, there are no what we know of copperhead in Australia that is actually a lapid.
Okay,
so it's
different.
more related to the cobra.
Okay. Oh, it's like oh my God. Okay,
Wow.
that's totally so a different species, a different animal than we're used to around here.
Correct. The one here is called the Kixtrodon contortrix.
Mm-hmm.
It's the very camouflaged one you were talking about.
Yes.
The one in Australia, while it's called a copperhead, is not at all the same snake.
Okay.
Never knew that.
And am I right that copperheads do not want to bite you? They do not like conflict, but will if you, of course, get in their area or threaten them?
So copperheads do very much rely on their camouflage and only resort to using their venom, which is also the way that they hunt and feed, in an absolute last-ditch effort for defense. They are more likely to bite than they are to run away, but again, that's because they will stay so very still relying on their camouflage, and usually when people get bit by a copperhead, it's because they have stepped on said snake.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I read. I'm glad you confirmed that. So that's good news for us.
Let me tell you why you're wrong.
Okay, right. Well, I always am, so please, yes.
The water moccasin, or a Kixtrodon pismorscus, which is actually a cousin to the copperhead, gets a really bad reputation for being aggressive and just wants to bite. However, that's not the case. They rely on a more defensive display, so that's why they call the cottonmouth. They'll open their mouth and show that big white mouth.
Yep.
And quite often they're called aggressive because they quote-unquote chase people. That is actually not accurate. The snake will try to run away, but doesn't know which direction to run, and quite often will choose the direction of the person.
So because it's got so it's bad at directions, like my wife is because of that. Okay. That'd be my wife is like the water moccasin. Aggressive.
We'll show you her mouth.
But thank you, Kevin.
Great call.
But at time, but only because she doesn't know which one. She doesn't know.